Good evening, Melrosians the world over. I'm Tom Catalini.
I'm Jen LeClaire.
I'm Sam Hammer.
And I'm Tom Shampoo.
And this is Let's Talk Melrose. Melrose, a show where Melrosians talk to Melrose about Melrose when they can get the marbles out of their mouths. How's everybody doing this evening?
Good.
I'm cross-posting, so go on.
I'll tell you about a great gift I got from Scotland.
Oh, no.
I have my own megaphone now.
Oh my God.
So,
life just got a whole lot more complex for everybody else.
And a whole lot more fun, right? So it's a lot of fun around the house. It's a lot of fun around the neighborhood and the streets of Melrose, and very grateful for that gift, which rounded out this year very well and sets me up for no doubt a successful 2020.
That's going to be the gift that keeps on giving.
It's like a new version of Mr. Microphone. Remember that?
That's right. That's my favorite.
Awesome.
Well, our top fan dog got us this teddy pillow.
Oh.
That Teddy is terrified by. I think he's weirded out and attracted to it at the same time. So you can come snuggle with Teddy anytime.
Very cool.
Or take selfies. Whatever you want to do. Whatever works for you.
Or if you're left alone with Teddy, just take some selfies.
My favorite Christmas gift was our DI team got a materials cutting tool. It's electric and it can cut through cardboard and rugs and anything. So our team is gonna tear it up this year, literally. That was a good one.
I got two things I was happy about. One is I needed a new pair of shoes. I just did. So I got a new pair of shoes. I'm happy about that. And the second was...
That reminds me of the saddest Christmas song of all time.
Yes! Oh my God, an awful song.
For his mother that's dying, I'm like, oh my God.
Yes.
Why do my shoes remind you of that? And then I got a giant jar of honey from Buckaloo's. Thank you very much, kids.
We have that honey too. It's delicious.
Yes. So anyway, that was happy with that too.
What about? Didn't you guys all get another Christmas gift that you love so much?
Did. Yes, we did.
Let's see.
Sam has it. Sam has the example.
Look at that.
The greatest ornament of all time.
Wait, am I cutting off the toms? I can't really tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our custom handmade LTMM Zoom 2020 ornament made by my dear friend Mary C. Matthews, a friend, a dorm floor mate from Emerson College. I wasn't sure how to say that now. Thank you. She is one of the most creative people I know. She's so crafty and so creative, and so she made those. She was taking custom orders for those, so I got one for all of you guys. She also has a fantastic Instagram feed where she draws the news and draws current events or draws like these hilarious puns every day. Drawing Daily USA, you can follow her there. She's awesome and she's hilarious, super smart, super talented. So shout out Mary C. Matthews.
I was so thrilled to receive that. It's such a cool ornament, and it reminds me of you guys in the show. And we'll probably do something with that next year, right? We should be mass producing these ornaments.
Definitely, we'll get her to Mary. You're going to have lots of orders. All of Melrose is going to need to.
It may have taken her a long time to find a good shot of like, how many hours.
No, I sent her that. I sent that to her. Yeah, it took me a long time to find that.
It was perfect. Yeah.
So speaking about finding, we're all lucky to have all these wonderful things. But what if you won $1 million, like somebody did at the Common Market this week? And what if you won that $1 million? What would you do, Jen?
I would of course share it with you guys.
All right. I like that answer.
Maybe. I'm only saying that in case one of you guys
Do we know who it is yet? Is it you?
No, I haven't heard, but the winning ticket was sold at the Common Market, I think either on Christmas Eve or on December 23rd, right around there. So if you're out there, winning ticket person, and you happen to be like a top fan, Join the conversation. Let's be friends.
We're looking for sponsors. No big deal.
Right. We need to get more mugs made.
I think we still have an opening for the premier sponsor for 2021 this late in the game.
In fact, we
could accept applications now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
What you do, so congratulations. You take a check and you write our names on it, and then you sign it at the bottom.
Right. Congratulations to whoever that is. I can assure you all right now, it's not me.
It's not me either. I'm happy for somebody out there, though.
Yeah.
It is a BFD Melrosian, though, right?
It is now. Yeah. Or maybe they were before. We shouldn't say that money makes the man or woman necessarily. They were probably a BFD Melrosian before. But do we know who else is a BFD Melrosian? Good friend of ours. Go ahead. You take this one.
Who are you talking to?
We're all waiting to see if we have a drop.
All right, guys, you're leaving me hanging. Our good friend and top fan, Kathy Vines, is a BFD Melrosian. Her company, Clever Girl Organizing, was recently featured in Better Homes and Gardens on the cover. She has an article in there about getting organized in 2021. And it's on stands now through spring. There she is. So congrats, Kathy Vines. You are a BFD.
Well done.
She is a BFD. Yeah. What a year. She co-hosted this show.
I thought it was the LTMM bump that got her an actual magazine.
We did that for that Casella guy, and now Kathy.
Yeah.
So
see what happens?
We are building resumes. We are building resumes.
We are building resumes, Tom. Sorry about that. We are. Fine. But it is time to move on to the news. And so the news was breaking early this morning. As soon as I woke up, my phone was buzzing, and it was the one and only Sam Hammer sharing some updates of news and developments in town. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about what's going on, Sam, with the school.
Sure. It's my first time reporting the news. I'm a little nervous.
Nervous because it's a very serious segment on this.
Yeah, and we never get it right, so it doesn't matter. Right. So go
ahead. So the school committee meeting will be holding a special meeting tomorrow night at 7:00.
Now they moved that because 2 reasons. One is not to, conflict with this show, but also, isn't that a wise move to get a finger on the pulse of the community? They're all, I'm sure, watching this show tonight, so they know how to be influenced for tomorrow. So,
right.
Yeah, no pressure on the rest of them.
But the meeting agenda includes one item, and that is a transfer of FY21 funds, so this fiscal year, around $280,000 to support COVID-19 testing because of the rising numbers in Melrose. Quote, a frustrated teachers union. Officials are calling for a district-wide testing program for essential time coming right back from winter break. So they're going to be meeting tomorrow night to discuss transferring these funds. And the funds will be reallocated from substitute and personnel funds. So,
and there was another line item too, right? It was coming from two different things. Personnel was one. I forgot what the other one was.
The substitute.
The substitute line. Those were two separate. They're similar, but they were separate line.
Which seems like maybe a place we may not want to be cutting from this year. I've heard from, not so much, I'm at Lincoln. I don't hear too much from Lincoln, but from other schools, there are teachers that are calling out that we need substitutes for.
Right.
We worked really hard to build positions and to try to build our school community and the human resources there. So I'm a little apprehensive about where this line item is coming from.
I'll tell you what, I like this move. I think it's a good leadership move from the administration. Putting this forth to the school committee, forcing the issue. They are dealing with something, they put it squarely on the plate. The administration is taking responsibility, taking a leadership position, putting it on the plate of the school committee, who seems to be responding, and it's totally within their purview to do this. And I think it forces the larger discussion about really how should we be responding as a city. And this was part of the chatter we were having earlier today. There maybe could have been, should have been, should be different and better ways to respond a little bit more holistically. But I like the move because it's a good tactic. It calls it in right between Christmas and New Year's and puts this on the table.
So you like the actual testing part, like you like that they're doing the testing.
I like that they're forcing a discussion and with some meat behind it, because you can vote on this and you can go and buy tests and things can happen.
This meat is kind of like a fast food McDonald's hamburger. It's got to be fast because they're voting tomorrow night. The conversation just started today.
The conversation needs to, it's like a speed dating conversation.
It's something you can buy these tests now. You can implement the program. It's within the purview of the school committee. And I think it forces the larger discussion. I don't think this is the best answer. I think the city could be approaching this differently and more comprehensively, but there is some dynamics here to respond to what's happening in the moment. Testing at this point, I think, is a reasonable approach, but with all these vaccines coming out, it's interesting that we haven't been talking, I don't know where students and teachers are on the vaccination priority list, but like that should be part of the mix, but that's not something you can do this week. This is something they can do this week. So
they still have the whole school year to go through. I mean, you can't talk about vaccines inside of this school year. That's not coming until. Yeah.
So I don't think it's the best answer. I think it's a great answer for right now. I think it's a great move to force things to move forward. And that's part of, I just like that dynamic.
I think I like that it's happening. I think there might be better places for the money to come from. We already have a budget discussion paradigm here in this community where we separate school budget from city budget. In fact, we have our one city, we have one budget. The school is just our biggest line item. And I think, again, you mentioned holistically, we are sitting on around $5 million of free cash that is allocated to go somewhere. I'm curious about priorities. What is a bigger priority to spend that money on than testing to make sure our students are safe? Also, we don't just have public school students in this community. We have private school students, charter students. This is a community issue. This is not a school issue.
Well, yeah, every one of those students is attached to a family. So if the students are being tested in the schools, but we're not doing that, citywide. If my student comes home, well, my kid's not in school, but if a student comes home and they're testing positive, it's actually not easy to go and get tested. The lines are crazy long right now. So you can't separate the students from their families and from the rest of the community.
Sam, real quick, what's the process for getting that money, the $5 million or every budget year, the free money? What's the process for getting that out and allocated? Who votes? How long does that take? And help us understand that.
I'm getting hot here.
What's that?
You're making me sweat. So I'm not at the table. I'm not inside the building. So I'm merely sharing what I know from watching from the outside. But basically, free cash is money that you didn't budget for. Like just like every household, you budget your expenses. And if you have some left over at the end, that's great. It's not, now you have money for extra Christmas presents. You can put that solar panel on your house. You have this money to do something new with.
Sure. No, I'm asking who has to vote or decide what to do with that money.
Oh, the process.
The process.
I'm pretty sure the city council has to allocate that. There might be some restrictions on that. It might be more for capital than operating.
It's one-time expenses.
One-time expenses.
Yep.
Okay. Either or. And then I think there's also, it's not free money. It's a plan that didn't work out as anticipated. So to have $5 million free out of $88 million budget or whatever, maybe we could do a better job planning. Where are we not planning effectively? Now that's tough. I don't mean to be critical this year. This year's so off the hook. You don't know what's coming from the state. You don't know what's coming from the federal. I mean, this is like changing hour by hour. So it's more unpredictable than ever. But I think the free cash you're talking about, Sam, is from last fiscal year, right? I don't think this is.
It's this fiscal year spend. So we're projected the $5 million in FY21, according to the sites that I saw this morning.
Okay.
So also too, I mean, we're at a moment in time right now, right? Like you said, the cases in the schools have been rising. We're getting emails and stuff more. So now this conversation is being forced to the table. That's a good thing. I don't think it's fair to say like, oh, we could have been doing better before. I think Melrose has done a very good job keeping the community safe and keeping our numbers now down. Now, we are where we are. The numbers are going up. So this is a moment in time where it's not too late. Like we're having the conversation now, right, where it's clear that we need to think about how to keep students safe in the schools and our school community and faculty and everybody and the rest of the community. So it's not so much about like, oh, we weren't doing something right before. We're where we are right now, and it's appropriate to be having this conversation right now and making decisions now for what we're going to do over the next 6 months or so, because this is still with us for a while. So I think we're where we need to be in terms of like the conversation, but let's have it and let's figure out what we need to do for the community to keep everybody safe for the next 6 months or so, or and longer.
You said all the beautiful things.
I'm done. I have to go.
But I know I've reached out to a few of my city councilors asking that they take another look at the free cash that is on hand, as opposed to taking more from the school budget. This is now a time to be supporting our teaching and learning that is as fragile as it possibly can be. And maybe I was going to joke earlier that I don't think it's gone to plowing or taking out snow from the city. So it might be going somewhere, but I'm not sure where yet.
Yeah, so I don't disagree with you, Sam, but what I like is the school committee can act tomorrow, and they can, then you can figure this out with city councilors later, and they can backfill that money, or they can do whatever. Yeah. But like that, there's an ability to react quickly here or take some action, and then enforce those larger discussions, which we're going to talk about. We didn't even tell people what we're talking about this year. The New Year's resolutions for Melrose and ourselves, and looking forward to 2021. So we've been thinking a lot about the future, and it is difficult when you think about that. We want to spend some time talking about the wish list and the big ideas and the vision of the future, because it's very easy to get mired in the day-to-day operational issues, particularly in such a challenging time as this.
So I just posted the question. If people want to put what their resolutions are for Melrose in 2021, we'll be showing them. We're listening, and we'll kind of pull all the great ideas together. I mean, this is what I love about this show and about our community, is that the whole point of this show is, aside from Tom's air horns and sound effects, is just like community discussions. This is what we talk to our neighbors about, right? Like, hey, what's going on in the city?
Passionate, semi-informed community.
Right. Exactly. Of the people. So so resolutions for, or ideas for Melrose for 2021. What do we want our community to be like in 2021? And Tom Shampoo, you had a fabulous analogy. You should kick us off with that story that you told us.
Thank you very much. We talked about this, and I feel like this is a great way to start thinking about some of these kinds of questions. And that is that I've used an analogy that JFK in 1962 told America, we want to go to the moon and land a man on the moon and then bring him back safely by the end of the decade. And so NASA didn't have a rocket that could do that. So NASA did not say, we can't do that, President Kennedy, because we don't have a rocket. NASA said, I guess we have to build a rocket. So in other words, the goal is first established, the vision is first established, and then you decide what you need to accomplish that vision, rather than saying, what can we build with the pieces we have around us? What can we do with our existing thinking and our existing resources? So I feel like saying the idea first and saying, let's go figure out how to do that second is really a critical way to think. So that's my little pitch.
I love that. And I would add to that, there's also there's things you need to build and things to be able to accomplish. There's also sometimes barriers that need to be removed also. So there's sometimes two things that need to happen. So removing barriers to be able to or obstacles to be able to accomplish the vision also sometimes.
And
is part of
including
it.
more people because you want more voices, because you want to have a diversity of experiences and expertise.
More different people.
Mm-hmm.
More different people.
All right, let's kick it off.
Okay.
Sam, what's your resolution for Melrose?
My resolution, these are short term. These can definitely happen in FY21. We had a quick conversation about budget. There's this project, initiative called participatory budgeting, where basically the city says to you, the citizens, we have $100,000 that you can decide how it is spent. And it, again, is this free cash that has been offset. So citizens kind of go through and they could put in ideas like water fountains in all the parks or parklets for every corner, whatever it is. And then the community votes, and that's what the money is spent on. So participatory budgeting can definitely happen, but this is my big one for real. Rest in peace, parklet. I miss you already. I would have shoveled you all winter.
Had you stayed.
Had you stayed. I miss you terribly. There's nowhere to sit on Main Street. With that said, I have vocalized this with backlash that I believe we can reduce drastically the number of parking spots on Main Street to make a more vibrant, pedestrian-friendly, retail-friendly district. So
bank friendly.
Bank friendly.
Bank nail pizza friendly.
Bank nail. So we were driving through earlier, and on the Starbucks side, on that one block, there are 14 spots. Many of them were not even. That's it there. Let's build more spots for differently abled folks who need to park in front of buildings, and let's move the tons of metal from in front of our precious retail spaces. If you want a vibrant retail downtown retail, you do not put piles of metal in front of it, no matter how BMW beautiful it is. So that is my Christmas wish, at least. And we talked about this, like, again, we're not going to build a rocket overnight. Let's do it a little bit at a time. The parklet was a wild success. Let's take half the street. I say the whole thing, half the street, and just enjoy it as humans and put the cars in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I like it. And to your point, I love that, Sam. And to your point, I know we'll have the support of our ped bike friends on this one, so I hope they're watching or will watch later. But also, we're in this again in the spring. Like, the parklets are coming back in the spring, which is great. But in the spring, when we can get outside, we're still in the pandemic. Like, we still have to be thinking about all these ideas. It's not too late. We had to do some emergency thinking for the fall, and now we have the winter to continue that thinking and be ready for the spring, because we're going to need it.
I was listening, but I'm glad my husband agrees, because he is so tired of hearing about this shit.
And a bigger guy.
I've heard it every day for a year.
All right, let's get on.
Business in the front, says Matt.
Business in the front.
Let's get on to Jen's wish for the new year.
Okay.
Resolution for Melrose.
All right, I'll try it. I don't know that I can articulate mine as gorgeously as Sam did.
If you had the cider, you'll be fine.
If I had the cider, okay, hold on. Mine, I think, generally is to build the arts capacity in Melrose. So I think we have, and we're already getting there, right? We're already getting there. We've had Porch Fest over the last few years that we never had before. Our symphony is strong and amazing. We have open studios and follow your art and a number of dance companies here. We have a award-winning theater program. So it's here. We have it. But they're individual organizations with individual missions that they each do fabulously. But I would like to sort of couple that with some of the ideas that you're talking about, Sam, with like our city's infrastructure. And again, being ready, our arts organizations need our support in the spring. We still cannot perform outside. There's no space for that. if you look at what cities like Arlington and Newton and Somerville and other areas are doing, they include arts RFPs in their traffic calming projects and from the start, things like that. So just kind of creative capacity building. We currently don't have a single organization in Melrose that can do that sort of stuff on their own, but somehow together and collectively we could. We need to find money, we need to find capacity, we need to sort of circle people around a table to start thinking about these things kind of in a group. But that's kind of my wish for Melrose, and to be ready to support our arts organizations for the spring, because like we said before about your ideas, Sam, we're still sitting where we're sitting in terms of the pandemic. Once March and April and May roll around, where the weather is going to get better and we can go outside. But do our arts organizations, does Porch Fest, does the Symphony, do these other organizations have the support and infrastructure they need to be able to present outside? Like, I don't feel like we've done enough to allow that kind of stuff to happen.
Those other cities that you mentioned, Jen, they're probably having a discussion right now, wishing that they had orange plastic jersey barriers sprinkled across their town. But just be careful when you
up and down Main Street.
True.
And 4 jerks on a public access show.
Yeah.
They wish.
With all the answers, right?
They wish they had 4 jerks.
I don't have the answers. I just have all the wishes. But it's possible. There just needs to be more conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Money.
No, but it's money. But you talked about like integrating it into other ideas and plans, which totally makes sense. So it just has to be part of that conversation.
Well, and also, I mean, things can be temporary. Like I just read an article. I just recently read an article about this really is a time to think temporary. We don't need a fully functional, new performance venue. We just need a temporary outdoor thing that you can tear down when it's done, when we don't need it anymore. It's fine,
So, Jen, to go back to my JFK thing, which I think applies to your desires, I think more directly, we don't need a giant stage to be built permanently. You're right. What we need is the desire to say, this is important for us to do it. Yeah. And then you say, let's go find the money. If we wait every year saying, do we have money for it? No, we don't. Then we can't do it. Right. That's the wrong way to go. Right. So I think you're right. We have to say, let's do it. It's important to us. And then we go find the money from there. So,
which goes right into your resolution.
Yeah. Into my resolution. So Tom, my resolution is kind of an offshoot of Jen's. I think back very fondly 3 years ago, I think it was September of 2017, when the Symphony played live concert on the Morelli baseball field, I guess, right on the baseball field over at the high school. It was free for the entire city. I think 3,500 people came out that night. We all sat in the outfield. It was just a magnificent night. It was a beautiful night weather-wise. And the Symphony is just a true joy to have. It's a real gem of the city. And it was such a great thing to be able to come out and see them like that. So I feel very strongly that while we do have Porch Fest and other music festivals that have come and gone, I feel like something that's more like the Symphony, which is a single destination all day long or half a day long, where you can come and go and picnic and you can come and sit with the family and friends or whoever, rather than having to walk around street by street by street. I don't want to lose Porch Fest. I think it's phenomenal. I think there's so many talented musicians in the city that we want to highlight those folks too. But I do feel strongly that there's got to be a way to put together an outside experience that brings people to one venue. It could be the Common, it could be the Knoll, it could be somewhere else, the baseball field, I don't know. It could be music, it could be movie night, it could be plays, live plays outside. But I do agree is bringing the community together in those ways really speaks to what the community wants to be known for. And I think it's different if you're doing Victorian Fair, which is also great. But I think again, a music destination somewhere else is really important. So I'll stop there.
Great. Yeah.
All right, John Hammer, you.
Nice. Yay, top fan John Hammer.
He's tired of listening to you talk about it.
Yeah. Can I
everyone
before we move on to before we move on to Tomcat, another top fan Just Dugan says, oh, sorry, Jen, but I want a permanent stage at the new Knoll park. I'm with you, I'm with you, Dugan. I totally agree. I think the development of that park is a long-term project. So I would say let's build what we need to build right now for the spring. If it's you know, less fancy or less permanent or whatever, and we'll get to that too. I'm with you, but I want to see if we need something built quick and dirty for the spring, then let's do that too.
Yeah.
And Carolyn, does somebody know Carolyn? Carolyn
Yeah,
says,
yeah.
Carolyn, thank you.
Hire director of the Fine Arts Department for MPS. This is for our podcast listeners. They can't read we haven't had one since 2009. So,
So, Tom Catalini, what's your
So
New Year's
really,
resolution?
it plays off of a lot of the ideas you guys are talking about, and definitely with the permanent temporary thing, I think that an experimental attitude would lead us toward innovative ideas. And so too often we debate whether we should have NIPS or not to the nth degree when you could sort of try it and see how it goes. And, you know, the alcohol thing may not be a good example because it's going to go up to the state and all that, but there's a lot of things within our control. Not all of them even cost a lot of money. So I'll probably tie into a few different ideas, but what is Melrose known for, right? One of the things I like about Melrose is you have this sort of neighborhood feel, whatever corner of the city you live in. I think you're more apt to kind of know your neighbors and interact than in most other places that I know about. You know, I know a lot of people that don't know their neighbors, don't like their neighbors, they just commute to and from. We're also known for proximity to Boston, and we're known for, sky high real estate, hottest zip code in the country and all of that. I think what's missing is a little bit of glue. What I would think of as maybe, I think the city could become more a neighborhood of neighborhoods. So it's like, how do you bring all those neighborhoods together? I think it's through a lot of the ideas, what you guys are talking about. And if we think of pandemic times and into the future and looking forward to post-pandemic, we're at a risky point here where society is fragmenting, right? We're all in our own little bubbles. I'm watching my Netflix on my profile, which is very different than going to a movie theater, interacting with people from all walks of life at the theater. So there's less convening places, yet I would argue there's more of a need to convene and interact and get to know your neighbors. And so it's great that you know everybody around the block. Wouldn't it be great to connect those neighborhoods? And I think it's ideas like what you're talking about. I would actually go further than you, Sam. I would block off Main Street, a couple of blocks, and just get rid of everything except for, and have that as a space to build. And again, on the experimental idea, you could try this on the weekends. You could try it 1 week a year. You could build up. It doesn't have to be a sudden and permanent change. Right. I went out to visit my niece in Denver, Colorado. They had bars and dining on the rooftops of, buildings like about the size of ours downtown. You could have gathering spots. You could have, play structures and tables and chairs and things like that to sort of the physical gathering and the interactions. I would like to see, that lead to interaction and intermingling about the neighborhoods and also the different factions. So we've got people that are like pro override and anti override, and people of different income levels and people of all kinds of diverse backgrounds. The more places and excuses and opportunities we can create for people to mingle across the city, I just think that the better off we would be. It would give that community feel across the board. And I think that's how you start to build a sense of co-ownership around the city. And that's what I would hope to sort of build on into the future. So I think just that neighborhood of neighborhoods idea is kind of where I landed for the new year.
That's a great point, Tom. It really is, because I think a lot of cities have neighborhoods. A small place like Melrose, a large place like New York City, there's oftentimes those little neighborhoods of neighborhoods, right? And I think bringing those together, how you thread people together so that they feel connected in a way that they don't normally feel connected, is really critical for a small place like Melrose, which 2 miles by 2 miles really is easier it should be easier for us to be able to connect people more meaningfully. So that's a great point. It really is.
I think the brand can then evolve to, it's a great place to live. It has its own culture and scene happening. And, it's, not to be because we have 3 train stations and we're close to Boston, and it's a good real estate investment. Like, I think there's
right. You want it to be like, oh, Melrose, that cool town that does, XYZ, or that you can go and hang out and do XYZ. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Good.
Yeah.
That was
Nice.
amazing.
Oh my God. I love
we-
that. Our vision was all there. There's a thread between what we all talked about, and it's really, it's community, it's participatory, it's community, it's that sort of thing. So I love that.
Yeah.
Inclusive.
Yeah, listening to all of you because it all ties together. Sorry, Sam.
No. I was just parroting Tom Shampoo. And obviously, there are bigger issues the city needs to tackle. We're focusing on what is possible. What is possible in 2021? And I'm going to just put this up for Mike Miner. Thanks.
Nice.
Exactly.
Thank you.
We need to build that rocket.
All right, we're
Right.
gonna do the magic wand thing. We're gonna change some stuff right now.
Okay, quickly. It's already after 9:00. All right, go ahead. You start us off. So let's explain it really quick too. One of the other things we talked about is so folks, you can chime in too on the comments. If you had a magic wand where you could change or fix one thing in Melrose really quickly, what would that be? So Tomcat. What would you change with your magic wand? What would you do with your magic wand?
I would build on the ideas I was thinking about for the new year. Just basically say civic engagement. I think at the most fundamental level, understanding budget literacy and the process and being part of the discussion. If everybody had that, if it was easier, if they were more engaged in that conversation, I could be able to walk down the street in Melrose and pick anybody out of a crowd and have a discussion about the budget or the process or whatever the issue of the day is.
Beautiful. Nice.
Yeah.
You just walk into a parklet and have a budget conversation.
There you go. Exactly. It's open.
That sounds like fun.
That's how we roll. I can go next if you want. That's fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So new building going up. It's about to go into its latest phase of final construction, I guess. But the one that's on Main Street used to be Coffee, Tea, and Me. Not sure what to call it now, if there's an official name for that building. But right to the left of that new building, I actually have the picture here. Right there, there's a spot. It looks like to be about 12 or so feet wide, 10 feet wide, and maybe 30, 35 feet deep. That should be a permanent parklet. So my magic wand is, boom, there's tables and chairs there year-round. Overhead, there's going to be a bunch of lights that look pretty. Mm-hmm. And on the left-hand runner between the bricks and the mulch, on the left-hand side, you get flowers and plants and things, and that becomes a permanent space for people kind of sit and eat, enjoy, talk about budget stuff, whatever they want to talk about. I can even imagine at the far end, maybe even a small stage for 1 or 2 musicians occasionally, once a week or whatever. But anyway, so that's my magic wand, to make that a parklet for 12 months a year.
I love it. An activated one too at that.
Activated one. There you go.
I love that.
All right, looks like Jen's next.
Am I next? Okay. Mine is a lot more boring. Mine is more like persnickety, and it's actually not even Melrose. But you guys,
it's more boring than budget literacy.
I didn't say it was boring. It's just persnickety. So, and it's not even in Melrose, but I have my magic wand, so I can use it anywhere. Okay, if I am in Saugus and I'm coming back into Melrose, by way of is that Wind Fells?
Yeah. From like Target.
The intersection where Irontown Diner is, and so I want to go straight through because I'm coming home. Okay, that intersection, everybody has to be in the left lane to get through, and the right lane is right turn only, and it should be the opposite. It should be a left turn only lane if you need to go towards the Saugus YMCA and whatever else is down there, and just go straight. I do all kinds of like crazy driving illegal stuff to get around that intersection because it's wrong and it's stupid. So that's how I would change that with my magic wand.
That is how it works. If there's a law you disagree with, you just
exactly.
I just go around.
It's kind of an existential question too, because it's really, do you want to make it easier to get to Melrose or harder to get to Melrose? That's really what it comes down to.
For me, easier. Just put a
How
rotary.
about a Melrose only lane? Melrosian?
Yes, Melrose.
That's
Melrose
a magic
on-
one. That's a magic one.
Everybody else,
I want to have that magic one. The bridge that goes over.
Straight shot.
Matt
The
Dugan has to be answered.
the
Put a rotary in
flyover
there.
to Melrose. The flyover lane to Melrose. Exactly.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
nice.
not a bad
All
answer either. That was good from Matt Dugan. People are
Yeah.
using the wand up there.
Yeah.
All right, Sam, bring us
All right, Sam
home.
Hammer, bring us
Okay.
home with it.
If I had a magic wand, my first wish would be for smaller classroom sizes in our public schools. I told you before, my kids are in hybrid. They have 10 students in their classroom, and it is still probably the best education that they have had in Melrose so far, and maybe forever, having only 10 kids in that class. And even though they're only in there half of the time, it is still a much better experience because of smaller sizes. But that is way too serious for this conversation. So
That's a good one.
That's a tease.
But if I had my magic wand, I do really wish for first floor retail everywhere through Melrose.
Yes.
I just said it before. There should be in every building a place for a human to walk in and do some sort of transacting or sitting or something. No offense. Eating
no
or
shopping. Eating or shopping.
Money. I don't
More
mean
than getting
anything.
cash.
More than getting cash. So
more than banking business. Agreed.
So with that said, my magic wand powers, I am taking over the most popular corner of Melrose on Main Street at the Fosters, on that corner where everyone walks by. I am going to take over that Bank of America ATM.
Look
Sell
at that
shit out of
thing.
it.
We're gonna operate our small ornament making Etsy shop out of there.
This is probably as second to Caruso's the most offensive piece of real estate in the city. Get those ATMs out of there. Put people inside.
Agreed.
There you go.
Agreed.
Nice.
All right.
All right. With that.
All right, and thanks again to the Blarneys for making one of my wishes come true for real. And we will see you around town.